ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमतिभक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, verse 43-44. रागो द्वेषश्च लोभश्च शोकमोहो भयं मदः मानो वमानोऽसूया च माया हिंसा च मत्सरः रजप्रमादः क्षुन्निद्रा शत्रवस्त्व एवम् आदयः रजस्तमप्रकृतयः सत्त्वप्रकृतयः क्वचित्. In the conditioned stage, one's conceptions of life are sometimes polluted by passion and ignorance, which are exhibited by. So this passion and ignorance is exhibited in the following means: by way of attachment, hostility. When there is attachment, there will be hostility, like dislike, greed, lamentation, because we didn't get what we want. So there's lamentation. Then there's illusion. And then there's fear, madness, false prestige, insults, fault finding, deception, cheating, envy, intolerance, passion, bewilderment, hunger and sleep. Hunger and sleep is also because of passion and ignorance. All of these are enemies. Sometimes one's conceptions are also polluted by goodness, but mostly it is polluted by passion and ignorance, at least for us, at least for me. In the mode of passion and ignorance, polluted by all these bad things, enemies. The actual aim of life is to go back home, back to Godhead, but there are many hindrances created by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes by a combination of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, the modes of passion and ignorance, and sometimes by the mode of goodness. In the material world, even if one is a philanthropist, a nationalist, and a good man, according to materialistic estimations, these conceptions of life form a hindrance to spiritual advancement. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. Sarvopadi, philanthropist, nationalist, good man, all this is upadi, designations. They become a hindrance. We've seen some people who are even like religious, very religious, they go to temples, etc., etc., but they can't accept Bhagavad Gita. They have their own conception of goodness. So everything binds in this material world. It's just that few fortunate souls somehow uh, get hold of bhakti. Somehow, because it's not, bhakti is independent. So how much more of a hindrance then are hostility, greed, illusion, lamentation, and too much attachment to material enjoyment. If mode of goodness, like philanthropist, nationalist, good man, so Prabhupada is saying these are all like good people, like mode of goodness types. These only can become hindrances. Now what about those products of passion and ignorance, like hostility, greed, illusion, lamentation? So they are definitely a hindrance to progress toward the target of Vishnu, which is our real self-interest. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnum. One must become very powerful in conquering these various hindrances or enemies. One must become very powerful. In other words, one should not be attached to being a good man or a bad man in this material world. We should be a Krishna man. We should not be a good man or a bad man. Of course, Krishna man is also normally good, but he can also be bad in the view of this world. For example, Arjuna became somewhat bad in the eyes of the modern world. I said, like, why did he engage in violence? He was such a nice person, and this Krishna just provoked him. So we are not interested in that recognition from this world, whether we are good or bad. We are interested in knowing if Krishna considers us as his servant, if we are a Krishna man. And on the path of being a Krishna man, we can either be good sometimes, we can be bad. Hmm. But it's not. It should be based on Guru Sadhu Shastra, based on higher authorities. Like Prabhupada gives his example of a soldier killing in a battle and just out of his own whim, killing somebody. The same killing act, when he was doing it on the basis of authority, he was a good man. When he did it based on his own whim, he became a bad man. In this material world, so-called goodness and badness are the same because they consist of the three modes of material nature. Now, it's difficult to understand this. How can goodness be bad or badness be good or both same? Because it's all connected with this material world, nothing connected with Krishna. Anything which is not connected with Krishna is bad, however good it might be from material vision, material calculation. So one must transcend this material nature. Even the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies consists of the three modes of material nature. So somebody might say, I'm doing so many puja, this, that. Prabhupada is saying, no, even they also consist of three modes of nature only. Therefore, Krishna advised Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna Nidvandvo Nitya Sattvastu Nidyoga Kshema Atmavan. And what is the way to transcend? So transcend be transcendental to all of them. Transcendental to the modes of material nature. Be free from dualities. Nirdvandvo. Dvandva means dualities. And all anxieties. Yoga Kshema. For yoga and Kshema, which is gain and safety. And Atmavan. Become Atmavan. Become established in the self. Meaning be established as a servant of Krishna. So that is the solution. Krishna says subsequently, right? माम च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्ति योगेन जो सेवते सगुणान समतीत्यैतान ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते सगुणान समतीत्यैतान. So here is saying Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya. There is saying saguna gunan samatityaitan. So it transcends the modes by avyabhicharini bhakti. So the transcending the modes only happens when we engage in pure devotional service, not otherwise. Which is why we keep saying that if we practice devotion in some modes, either mixed devotion, which could be in the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness, it's not going to help us transcend. It's only when we are engaged in pure devotion, then we can transcend. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvasta. If one becomes a very good person, that is in the mode of goodness, he is elevated to the higher planetary systems. Similarly, if one is infected by Rajoguna and Tamoguna, he may remain in this world or go down to the animal kingdom. But all these situations are hindrances on the path of spiritual salvation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan, Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Tata Beach. If one is fortunate enough to transcend all this so-called goodness and badness and come to the platform of devotional service, by the mercy of Krishna and Guru, his life becomes successful. Now we might be wondering what this statement means. Because to come to Guru itself is devotional service. Number one. Right? But when we come to Guru, we are actually not on the platform of pure devotion. Artho, Arthati, Jignasu, Gnani. So we might be in some mixed devotion. But when we come under the instructions of Guru, then by the mercy of Krishna and Guru, then we come to the platform of devotional service, which is pure devotional service. Because otherwise, even when we come in touch with devotion and even when devotees get initiated, they are still in this influenced by the modes. They are not transcended. Who transcends the modes? Only one who does pure devotional service. So if by some great fortune a devotee gets initiated into pure devotional service, meaning as soon as initiation happens, he gives up all nonsense, stops sinning, stops sense gratification, engages in pure devotional service, then automatically he got the mercy of Guru right there, Guru and Krishna. Then his life is successful. But most devotees are not trained to come to the state of pure devotional service before initiation. So mostly devotees remain in mixed devotion. And then they have to hear instructions from Guru to become pure so that their life can become successful. So Prabhupada is saying, in this regard, one must be very bold so that he can conquer these enemies of Krishna consciousness. But devotees are sometimes they find it very difficult to deal with this world, to deal with specifically relatives, sometimes even people in the house. Of course, bold doesn't mean that we just like, just create like a war scene. Not that kind of boldness. This boldness is, come what may, I will do my devotion. Nobody can stop me. Okay, I might have some, there might be some limitations. I might not be allowed to do everything that I want. That's okay. That's judgment, right? And if we don't have the ability to do the right judgment, then we should take guidance from senior devotees. But we should never give up. There's no question of giving up. Say, hey, okay, whatever happens, how much ever time it takes, I will do pure Krishna consciousness. Not caring for the good and bad of this material world, one must boldly propagate Krishna consciousness. Now, this is for propagating. We should not fear. We should not fear. I see many devotees who are preachers, they fear. They fear, saying that, oh, if I say this, then people will run away. If I say pure devotional service, people will run away. If I don't let them do whatever they want, people will run away. But this is fear. We don't have to fear. Prabhupada said that we have to simply repeat the message. We have to simply repeat the message. Now, whatever message is Prabhupada is saying, we have to repeat that message. But we fear. No, we should not fear. We should boldly propagate pure Krishna consciousness in this world, which is what is required. Now, we might think, okay, no, Mishra Bhakti might also bring devotees to pure devotion. May bring. No guarantee. When will it bring them to pure devotion? Only when those mixed devotees get the association of pure devotees. Only then they will. But if we are preach mixed devotion so much that there is no pure devotee at all around us, what is the hope? So better preach pure devotion. So this is important. These qualities here. So all of us will have these qualities to some extent or the other. And we can understand saying that we are still in the mode of passion and ignorance with these. Each of us will have to different extents, attachment to material things, dislike, enmity, greed, material greed, lamentation that I did not get something or my life is like this. But these are not qualities of a devotee. So if these qualities are there in us, that means that we have still not transcended. Forget about transcending. We are still in the mode of passion and ignorance, material mode. And all these are connected with material things. So this material attachment, material hostility, material greed, material lamentation. Why I'm saying some of these qualities can also be there on the spiritual platform. Spiritual greed can be there, spiritual attachment can be there, spiritual lamentation can be there. Illusion, purely material. Fear, unless we have reached the stage of devotion like Yashoda Maya, who fears all these demons, all Brajavasis. Otherwise, mostly we experience material fear. Material madness, there's also spiritual madness. False prestige is purely material. Insults is purely material. Fault finding can be material and spiritual. Guru correcting disciples, that kind of fault finding is spiritual and that's required. Deception, mostly material. There can also be spiritual deception. Mm. But that's only rare cases, right? As required by Leela Shakti. Then envy, again, purely material. Intolerance, purely material. Passion, purely material. Bewilderment, purely material. Of course, this also, Yogamaya also bewilders, so this can also be spiritual. Hunger and sleep are purely material. So all of these are material. Of course, we slowly and steadily, gain victory over hunger and sleep, right? Today is Ekadashi, so opportunity to gain victory over hunger, little bit at least. Mm. Maybe those who are eating, non-grain today can say that, okay, out of eating 3 times, maybe once I will not eat non-grain also. Maybe I will eat fruits for now. And then slowly bring that 3 times consumption to 2 times and 1 time. And yes, we should develop enough spiritual strength to completely fast on every Ekadashi. There are many devotees who do that and they're great. Some devotees come with some weak body. So then they should develop strong mind to counter the weak body. Of course, we might have to take treatment, medicines, etc. accordingly, but slowly, steadily, those who are healthy should definitely try to do this. Conquer over hunger. And yeah, slowly, steadily, devotees should also reduce sleep. Mm, mm. If devotees are sleeping for more than 6 hours, that becomes their first target to bring it down below at least to 6 hours. They're sleeping 6.5 hours, 7 hours, 7.5 hours. The more we sleep, the more tamoguna it is. So bring it down to 6 hours. 6 hours is enough. Again, unless somebody is unwell. And we should see that these qualities reduce in us. If they're not reducing, that means we are not doing the recommended morning program properly. Chanting, reading, Mangalarti, etc. If we are not doing those, then these things will remain in us. So this is important. We have to transcend, and good association is to associate with devotees who are not heavily influenced by these qualities. Heavily influenced, because there are always some little something, some anartha or the other will always be there, but heavily influenced by these, by passion and ignorance, we should not associate with such devotees. Definitely we should not associate with such karmis, and many people have to associate with such karmis at work. So don't associate with them, don't get influenced by them. You have to work in the midst of such people. You can pray to Krishna saying, Krishna, please pull me out of this nonsense. Many devotees are feeling that asat sangha. What can we do? We are in this miserable Kali Yuga, where we have to work like this only to maintain family. Of course, it's not the only option. The best, safest option is going on farm communities. But also, that also takes time, faith, etc. So till then we can pray that we can remain as sattvic an environment as possible in this miserable material world. Mm. Mm. Especially Saturday, Sunday, those devotees who don't work Saturday, Sunday and they engage fully in devotion. For them, Monday is like a real difficult. Getting up and again going in the midst of all this asat becomes difficult. But we have to pray for mercy. Of course, like I keep saying, for those devotees whose financial situation is very comfortable, such that they don't have to work, yeah, Krishna has given them mercy, which they can use if they wish. But unfortunately, I see also devotees who have that they don't want to exit. They have all the facilities materially, but they still want to work. I mean, it's really unfortunate. And then there I know devotees who are hankering to get out of their work and like do full-time devotion. So we should have this desire because that's where we have to get to ultimately. So those who don't have a favorable financial situation, okay, go on, keep praying parallelly, so that one day Krishna will give us mercy. He will give us mercy. There's no doubt about it. Hmm. Okay. यावन्नृकाय रथम् आत्मवशोपकल्पम् दत्ते गरिष्ठ चरणार्चनया निशातम् ज्ञानास्यम् अच्युतबलो दधद् अस्तशत्रुः स्वानन्दतुष्ट उपशान्त इदं विजह्यात्. As long as one has to accept a material body with its different parts and paraphernalia, which are not fully under one's control, the material body is not under one's full control. One must have the lotus feet of his superiors, namely his superior spiritual master and the spiritual master's predecessors. One must have the lotus feet, meaning hold on to the lotus feet. By their mercy, what happens? One can sharpen the sword of knowledge, not remain in ignorance, not remain sentimental, gain knowledge. Not just gain knowledge, sharpen the sword of knowledge. Sharpen means it could be by more knowledge, by sharper knowledge, by more clearer understanding, etc. And with the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's mercy, not our power. We don't have any power. By the power of Supreme Lord's mercy, one must then conquer the enemies mentioned above. In this way, the devotee should be able to merge into his own transcendental bliss. And then he may give up his body and resume his spiritual identity. It sounds so simple. Simply give up this nonsense of passion, ignorance, goodness by the power of Lord's mercy. And then just merge into transcendental bliss and then give up this body and resume spiritual identity. Simple. Far easier than done. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. So one who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities do not take birth again in this material world. Ma meti. They come to me. They attain my transcendental abode. This is the highest perfection of life. And the human body is meant for this purpose. Bhagavatam 11th canto says, Dudeham adyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulena navasvateritam puman bhavabdhim na taret sa atmaha. Atmaha means killer of the soul. Who is a killer of the soul? Who doesn't use this opportunity of human form. Human form of body is the most valuable boat, and the spiritual master is the Guru Karnadharam, captain, to guide the boat in flying across the ocean of nescience. The instruction of Krishna is a favorable breeze. One must use all these facilities to cross over the ocean of nescience. Since the spiritual master is the captain, one must serve the spiritual master very sincerely, so that by his mercy, one will be able to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We might not know anything about Krishna or his instructions, but if we have sincerely surrendered to a bona fide spiritual master and serving him with all humility, then automatically we'll get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Automatic. A significant word here is Achyuta Balaha, not our Balaha. Spiritual master is certainly very merciful to his disciples, and consequently by satisfying him, a devotee gets strength from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now we should understand this word mercy in connection with Guru. The mercy in connection with Guru is not that the Guru just allows us to do whatever we want. Actually, no Guru will want his devotees to do anything which is not prescribed in the Shastra. It's just our convenience that in the name of Guru, We just say, no, 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 my Guru is very merciful. If the Guru is merciful, then what will the Guru do? He will prepare, train the disciple. And in the training, if we are able to satisfy the Guru by being sincere, diligent, serious, then Guru gives mercy. And then what happens? Automatically he gets the strength from Supreme Lord. So if a devotee has got spiritual strength, that means he's got the mercy of his Guru. That's what this statement is saying. If we have got spiritual strength, then it means we have pleased our Guru. So his mercy has flown. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Guru Krishna Prasad Ephai Bhakti Lata Beej. One must first please the spiritual master, then one automatically pleases Krishna and gets the strength with which to cross the ocean of sin. So simple, very simple. But we should not presume that or assume that I am pleasing the spiritual master by doing something. We have to confirm that from the spiritual master or his representatives, not simply whomever we want. We can't just go to some friend devotee and say, I'm doing this, hope my Guru Maharaj is pleased with me. And just because that devotee is your friend, he'll say, yes, 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 definitely, Prabhu. We should go to the representative of Guru, for which we have to ask Guru, who is his representative? Meaning, there's so many devotees, locally there will be some representatives of Guru. So we have to follow them. And we have to make sure that those representatives are actually following themselves. If one seriously desires to return home back to Godhead, one must therefore become strong enough. Again, this Prabhupada in this purport is hammering strong, strong, strong. Balaha. We need this Achyuta Balaha. So become strong enough by pleasing the spiritual master, for thus one gets the weapon with which to conquer the enemy, and one also gets the grace of Krishna. So we get the strength to conquer passion and ignorance. Simply getting the weapon of jnana is insufficient. One must have the mercy also. One must sharpen the weapon by serving the spiritual master and adhering to his instructions. See, some people have the weapon of jnana, but they don't apply it. No. So if you have the weapon of jnana, then what we should do? We should sharpen the weapon by doing what? By serving the spiritual master. By serving, the weapon becomes sharpened. And adhering to his instructions. See, this one line is good enough. These two statements. So simply having jnana is not sufficient. Sharpen jnana by serving spiritual master and adhering to his instructions. Both. Sevan Mukehi. Then the candidate will get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. In general warfare, one must take help from his chariot and horses in order to conquer his enemy. And after conquering his enemies, he may give up the chariot and its paraphernalia. Similarly, as long as one has a human body, one should fully utilize it. Use it to obtain the highest perfection of life, namely going back home, back to Godhead. For that, simply it is serving a spiritual master and adhering to his instructions. It's also not just serving spiritual master the way I want and not bother about his instructions at all. No, that will not get us mercy. That is just mental speculation. The perfection of knowledge is certainly to become transcendentally situated. So if one has knowledge, one has to come to Brahmabhuta. And he becomes Prasannatma. And he stops lamentation. He stops desiring. Sees everybody on the spiritual platform. And then he gets Parabhakti, pure devotion. So Prabhupada says, in that state he attains pure devotional service. Simply by cultivating knowledge, as the impersonalists do, one cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. One must attain the platform of Bhakti, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. And When one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Unless one has attained the stage of devotional service, which is pure devotional service, and the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna, there is a possibility that one may fall down and again accept a material body. Therefore, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. The word tattvataha, meaning in reality, is very important. Tato mam tattvato gnatva. Unless one understands Krishna in truth. How do we understand Krishna in truth? By the mercy of Guru. One is not free to give up his material body. Meaning we again get another material body. He is not free to give up. So we have to understand Krishna in truth. For which we have to serve Guru and pariprashnena sevaya. Question with humility. Aruhya krishrena parampadam tatapatanti ado anadrita yushmadangraya. If one neglects to serve the lotus feet of Krishna, one cannot become free from the material clutches simply by knowledge. This is for those impersonalists who don't have respect, anadrita, no other, no respect for Yushmad, meaning your Angrayaha, lotus feet. If one doesn't have respect for the lotus feet of Krishna, he might be very, very accomplished in knowledge, but he will fall down. Even if one attains the stage of Brahma Padam, meaning merging in Brahman, without bhakti, he is prone to fall down. One must be very careful in regard to the danger of falling down again into material bondage. It's not just about going till Brahman and falling. Even at higher stages of devotion, we should not fall down to lower stages. The only insurance is to come to the stage of bhakti from which one is sure not to fall. Of course, we have to come to the stage of pure bhakti. If you are in Mishra Bhakti, again we can fall. Then one is free from the activities of the material world. In summary, as stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one must get in touch with a bona fide spiritual master coming in the parampara of Krishna consciousness. For by his mercy and instructions, one is able to get strength from Krishna. Actually, his mercy is his instruction. When we follow his instruction, automatically we get his mercy, automatically we get Achyuta Bala, strength from Krishna. Thus, one engages in devotional service and attains the ultimate goal of life. The lotus feet of Vishnu. Significant in this verse are the words Gnanasim, Achyuta Balaha. Gnanasim means the sword of knowledge. Is given by Krishna. And when one serves the Guru and Krishna, in order to hold the sword of Krishna's instructions, Balarama gives one strength. Now Prabhupada is giving technically. When one serves Guru and Krishna, how in order to hold the sword of Krishna's instructions, meaning to follow those instructions, we serve Guru and Krishna and follow their instructions, then what happens? Balaram gives strength. Balaram is Nityananda. Rajendra Nandana Jai Suti Suchi Sutta Hoilo Sei Balaram Hoilo Nitai. This Balaram comes with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both of them are so merciful that in this age of Kali, one may very easily take shelter of their lotus feet. They come especially to deliver the fallen souls of this age. Papi Tapi Jota Chila Hariname Udharilo. Their weapon is Sankirtana Harinama. Thus, one should accept the sword of knowledge from Krishna and be strong with the mercy of Balaram. We can't do that without the sword of knowledge. Meaning, if we are ignorant, if we are not reading Prabhupada's books, if we are not hearing, then we don't have knowledge and we cannot get the mercy. Because without knowledge, we can not actually serve Krishna properly. We have to know. So Prabhupada is saying, therefore we are worshipping Krishna, Balaram and Vrindavan. Mundakopanishad Nayam Atmavala Henena Labhyo Nacha Pramada Tapaso Vapya Lingat. Etairupayer yatate yastu vidvams tasyaisha atma vishate brahmadama. One cannot attain the goal of life without the mercy of Balaram. Shri Narottama Das Thakur therefore says, Nitayera karuna hobe vraje radha krishna pave. When one receives the mercy of Balaram, Nityananda, one can attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And Balaram, Nityananda gives mercy to anybody who propagates Krishna consciousness. Because he is pleased with anybody who pleases Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pleased with anybody who pleases Nityananda Prabhu. And what is the process? Just spread the holy name of the Lord. Spread Krishna consciousness. Se sambandha nahi jar, vrtha janma gela tar, vidya kule hi karibe tar. If one has no connection with Nitai, Balaram, and then even though one is very learned or gnani, or has taken birth in a very respectable family, these assets will not help him. We must therefore conquer the enemies of Krishna consciousness with the strength received from Balaram. So we have to get the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Then we'll get the mercy of Balaram, which is spiritual strength. So bottom line is one has to serve Guru and Krishna, follow their instructions, then Balaram gives strength. That's all. Here also, previously also same summary. Multiple times Prabhupada is repeating the same thing. One must sharpen the weapon by serving the spiritual master and adhering to his instructions. When we do this, we get the mercy of Krishna. When we get the mercy of Krishna, we get strength from Balaram. That's all. And we need this Achyuta Bala. We are struggling today because of the lack of Achyuta Bala. Because of this lack of spiritual strength that Krishna, that Balaram bestows. So for which the root cause is that we are not properly serving Guru and Krishna. We are trying to still remain independent. To the extent we try to remain independent, we fail to receive full mercy of Guru and Krishna. And sometimes Krishna tests. So we have to just be patient and keep trying. Keep looking what anarthas do I have, what is the next anartha to work on. See, if one is as sincere, to do this all the time, keep introspecting, talk to senior devotees. Somehow I see that devotees never come and question anything, ask any doubt. There are so many things that about which we might have some question or doubt. Very few devotees I see, they are inquisitive, they come and keep asking, what about this? What should we do in this situation? So they're very nicely learning. Many others I don't know because we are not so, well informed about Shastra. It takes time to internalize instructions. We might hear instructions, we might not know how to internalize the instruction. For which the only option is to question, inquire. But somehow devotees don't do. We should not shut down our brain. We should keep our brain alive and active and keep thinking, saying, okay, this I am doing. Is this in line with Shastra? Every minute of my life, am I living in line with Guru, Sadhu and Shastra? And if the answer is I don't know, then we should try to find out. And answer is I know, either I know I'm not following, then need spiritual strength. So pray and try to follow. And if you say I know and I am following, then it's great. So this is very important. Okay. So with this, I'm stopping. If there are any questions, comments. Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Pranam.
Prabhu, if I understood it clearly, you said like if if there is a grace of Krishna, we come into spiritual life, and if our spiritual life is good, that means Krishna has been merciful.
Yeah.
Right, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Now, we come across many devotees whose spiritual life is very good,
Okay.
far excellent. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they must be following the rule book by word to word, word to word.
Okay.
But in their dealings, we see a very opposite side, the greed, intensity to, cheat, the intensity to be rude, all this. Then how do you
No, but
understand this?
then what is the meaning of saying that their devotional life is good?
See, they're getting up in the morning, they're
Oh, their
chanting, they are not.
sadhana, their
Sadhana is good.
sadhana.
Like that's how we
Okay,
understand
okay.
he's a devotee, right, Prabhu? Like
Oh, okay,
he's
okay.
they're not eating, they only eat prashadam, they're going to pilgrimages.
Uh-huh.
We see so many devotees like this, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And
okay.
but when it comes to dealing, then how do we understand this? Krishna's mercy, they're influenced by
Yeah,
modes of nature. How do we
yeah, yeah.
understand this?
Yeah, so especially if we see some, like really somebody who's getting up every day in the morning, attending Mangalarti at 4:30, chanting his rounds, reading Prabhupada's books every day, not going to pilgrimage, not other things. If the devotee is doing these things, getting up in the early in the morning, chanting in Brahma Muhurta, attending Mangalarti, chanting Brahma Muhurta, reading Prabhupada's books, still he has all this, then he's a hypocrite, right? Because it's very difficult to understand how one can read Prabhupada's books and still have all these bad qualities. And if he has, he's really cheating because the process of devotion, you cannot let somebody remain like this if you do such intense Tivra bhakti, right? Which is why, again, I come back to this Vaishnava K. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saying devotees can become advanced, but they can get stuck in Labh Puja Pratishtha. And when one gets stuck in Labh Puja Pratishtha, then they can do all kinds of nonsense, which they would otherwise not have done. Which means that they have given up material, attachments, they have given up, they have shown renunciation, they're also doing sadhana, but somehow they get stuck with Labh Puja Pratishtha, which means that they have still not got the full mercy of Krishna because they have not surrendered fully. See, this desire for La Puja Pratishtha comes only if you have not fully surrendered to the will of Guru and Krishna. Only then it comes. So, external aspects of just following some good sadhana should actually translate into good behavior. If it's not translating into good behavior, then there is something wrong. And mostly my understanding analysis is that reading is not happening regular. It's not that okay, 1 week I'm started reading, so why my all these bad qualities have not gone. No, it will take years. It will take years of that sadhana. Then it is very, very difficult to find such hypocrisy. It will cease to exist. And my analysis is this: that it is root cause is not reading Prabhupada's books for at least 1 hour every day, and not for the sake of reading, for the sake of understanding and following. Such devotees cannot have these qualities. Not possible. And some devotees I've seen have some weakness, Hridaya Daurbalyam, for some aspects. But now, the important thing is if they are actually reading every day, then they will take shelter of some superior devotee who are more superior than them to actually overcome their deficiencies. But I also see that there are devotees like that who have a lot of knowledge but no practical application, which also means that they have not got full mercy because they have not fully surrendered. They have not fully surrendered to the instructions of Guru Sadhu Shastra. Which is why devotion is easy but yet can be difficult. If we simply follow the program given by Prabhupada, it cannot fail. We cannot fail. But we don't follow. We don't accept all instructions Prabhupada is giving in his books. We don't follow all instructions being given by Guru. The result is this kind of hodgepodge devotion. We'll definitely respect them for their sadhana, but if they're not reading, then that's the first thing they should fix. If they're reading but still stuck in La Puja Pratishta, we can pray for them. Okay, anything else, anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
And also adding this to adding one more point. Earlier, I was also like thinking whenever somebody is doing devotion, getting up early in the morning, 4, and then doing devotion, reading books. But I was like there thinking that, oh my God, such a great devotion and all. But still, this later I understood that the devotion, the Krishna will only understand who is doing true devotion.
Mm.
We by outline, if we see, and we cannot judge that somebody is good, doing very great devotion, somebody is not doing any devotion. This is what I
Yeah,
understood.
but we can see by their behavior. The
Yeah,
test of
yeah.
devotion is in the behavior. It's not a
Yes,
classroom.
yes.
It's not
Yeah,
theory. We are not writing a theory paper in Krishna consciousness. Every moment we are writing a practical paper in Krishna consciousness. It's the test of our knowledge. It's the test is our application. And
yeah,
if that fails, then there is no point. As in, yeah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, anything else? Okay, then we'll close here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। पांचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.